It's been about a year since I've played a DRPG. It's also been about a year since I've played MeiQ, the game that made me take this much time away from the genre. Yet here we are with Idea Factory taking on the genre once more, albeit this one not being a Makai Ichibankan title, by the name of Mary Skelter Nightmares. Thankfully, unlike the last one, going through Mary Skelter isn't a living nightmare. In Mary Skelter, you live in a living, breathing organism called jail. Outside of the few humans that live in jail, jail is run by the inhabitants called Marchins, who essentially torture the people they've caught. One day, after Alice, a dear friend of yours, comes to visit you after her daily torturing, Red Riding Hood shows up to break Alice out of prison as she is a blood maiden. Blood maidens are the only people who can effectively fight back against the Marchins. Luckily enough for you, both you and Alice are inseparable, so if she goes, you go. Problem is, you're useless. Effectively a meat shield. Regardless of your usability, you're taken to Dawn, a group of people who've made it their mission to escape jail. Mary Skelter is a first-person dungeon crawler at some of its best. As per usual, the maps are grid-based, with you filling out the map by walking on every section of the map. Didn't walk on that one part of the map? That part isn't filled in, so it's best to do it even if you know it's a trap, so you aren't bugged about it later and waste your time backtracking. Most battles are completely randomized, with some being scripted as the map will have an enemy placed at specific spots, as well as the ever-roaming dungeon boss, Nightmare. There are some light puzzles to solve and even some Metroidvania-esque elements. Also, you can pick a job and even go as far as to purposely lower your level for bonus stats. Mary Skelter even adds its own flavor to it by having some fun of its design choices. You see, each part of the jail has 3 parts that constantly want to be satisfied: hunger, lust, and sleep. Satiating hunger is pretty easy, as all you have to do is hit the opponent's weakness. Lust is pretty simple as well, as that's pretty much rewarded to you by traversing the map, as when you find an item, it goes up. Sleep is awarded by completing battles without taking any damage while the dungeon is asleep. How can a dungeon sleep? Your guess is as good as mine. Once one of these conditions are fulfilled, you're rewarded with a random buff chosen from a roulette. This is extremely beneficial in battle, as it can either be free health, a buff, or even damage the opponent. Remember when I said you were only a human shield? Well, that wasn't a lie, but that wasn't the entire truth either. In the beginning, yes. Outside of managing items, the only real thing you can do is choose a party member and take their oncoming damage. Be warned though, doing this will leave you stunned for a few turns, so if you needed to use an item, well, too bad, game over for now. Of course, as the game goes on, you become more than a meat puppet. Turns out, you're a blood youth. How lucky. Turns out, your blood relieves the girls of agitation and prevents them from turning into Blood Skelter, a mode where the girls are powered up, but you can't control them and they will attack both sides. Blood is a very important part in battles, and I don't mean their lifeblood either. While sure you have to make sure everyone has enough HP to survive the next oncoming attacks, making sure they aren't constantly attacked is just as important. Should that happen, the blood on them will blacken, and if it gets dark enough, they will turn into that Blood Skelter I mentioned earlier. You do have the ability to turn the blood on them to the proper color. However, if you keep doing it, you'll increase your risk of not being able to move for the next few turns. Blood can be gotten on a girl from either overkilling an enemy or attacking their weaknesses. When there is blood on them, the girl can be licked. The person doing the licking will typically gain a bonus, whether it be health, rejuvenating HP, or some buffs. Should a girl have enough blood on them, they'll achieve Massacre Mode. In this form, attacks give back HP and SP, and the girls have access to special skills. Should an enemy defeated while a girl is in this form, whoever is in this form will recover HP and SP. This form only lasts for so long though, so be sure to use and abuse it as much as you can. Should you beat down an enemy enough, their blood will actually splatter on the game world itself. The best part about that is the fact there's an actual gameplay mechanic behind that. Choosing to play the game on normal or hard is more than the normal enemies are stronger situation. It plays with risk and reward, as battles give more experience and money on hard than they do on normal or easy. But easy mode gives you access to the mini-map when Nightmare is nearby. This is absolutely important because bosses can't be killed, only stunned until its core is destroyed. That said, when you've accidentally wandered into the boss's zone, you lose access to the mini-map unless you're playing on easy, and the boss will continuously chase you until you get out of its reach, so the mini-map is very important so you won't get lost. So what does the blood splatter have to do with it? When you get into the boss territory, everything is dark. So while sure you don't have access to a map, the blood splatter will actually brighten the area a little so you can at the very least see where you're going. Blood also has a role out of battle as well that isn't just blood splattering in the dungeons. Later on, by using your own blood to purge the corrupted blood on the girls, they will receive boosted HP and SP stats the next time they go into a dungeon. This effect only lasts until they've been knocked out or you decide to leave the dungeon. For what it is, the game looks nice on Vita. The CGs look great, but they are too far and few between for my taste. However, my biggest complaint are the monster designs. There isn't much of variety of them. It'd be one thing if I was facing a monster in one dungeon and facing its recolor in another a few dungeons later, but the fact that the game has the recolored enemies in the same dungeon, even after adding new ones to the later parts of the dungeon, just doesn't feel right. It'd be nice if the dungeons could be marked by the player as well. Sure, what the game does mark is nice, signposts, warps, trap holes, and so on. What it doesn't mark make up the Metroidvania aspects I mentioned earlier. Every party member has a special ability that can be used outside of battle. Alice can make rabbit holes so you can save your game or go back to town, Snow White creates bombs to blow things up, and Sleeping Beauty has arrows that can shoot far away targets. The problem is that when you get to an impassable part of the map, the game doesn't mark it for you to remember for later, and you don't have any way of doing that either. Despite all of its faults, it's very impressive to see a studio release something like MeiQ to this. While MeiQ certainly had some neat ideas, they fell flat after a while, and the game just became boring because of it. Deathly boring. While here, the jump in quality from practically every angle can certainly be felt. This game has certainly left its mark. As while it's not the best DRPG out there, it's certainly a very solid and pretty original feeling effort. And that does it for our review. To see the written review, be sure to check out our website, gaminggamma.com. A link to the review will be provided down in the description below. Also, if you have any comments or questions in regards to the review, please leave them down in the comment section below as well. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're just finding me for this review, hey, be sure to subscribe and stick around for a while for future Let's Plays, reviews, commentaries, and more. We'll have a ton of fun here together. And if you're already subscribed, be sure to click on that bell to be notified when I upload next. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.